Brand new Doctor Who has finally dropped. The 14th season has commenced, and well, the reception has been a bit polarizing, to say the least. If you're a member of the critic class, apparently you overwhelmingly love what Ncuti Gatwa is up to. If you're a part of the audience, and well, we'll do a little bit more of a delving into that, you're not exactly as enthusiastic as the critics, and well, that's kind of represented right here with a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, okay? Thanks to Disney mostly carrying, and I've been receiving a ton of promotion for this, doing all of the marketing for brand new Who. You're just gonna see, hey, it's the highest rated Who, it's the most appreciated. Our 2-episode premiere has been better received than anything else in history, and if you don't like it, well, that's your loss. But now that we're a couple of days removed, because this all dropped on Saturday in North America, which again, thanks to Disney carrying a lot with this production, are catering to the North American audiences, which is kind of strange because Doctor Who, even as popular as it was during its 50th anniversary, you know, when Matt Smith was in the role, people were taking a look back and going, oh, that David Tennant guy was pretty talented, and then things completely and totally falling off of a cliff with everybody being reminded of the failure of that 10-year stretch with how poorly the 60th anniversary specials were received, and of course the introduction properly of Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor. And now that he doesn't have any nostalgia, any special events to bolster him, he's got to stand on his own 2 feet, and not really doing that great of a job. Ncuti Gatwa says he feels sad for those tuning out of the new season of Doctor Who because of its push for diversity. Wow, imagine that. Okay, people are not wanting to tune in to get preached to. It's almost like the fans of Doctor Who kind of want to watch Doctor Who for, let me check my notes. Oh, Doctor Who for a sci-fi staple, for a British institution, instead of a tiny Rwandan black guy who wants to talk about how gay he is instead of the purpose of the Doctor is supposed to be. No. Why would we want to have that tried and true formula when we can have what every other pathetic show being thrust upon us from the likes of the BBC, from their North American counterparts? No wonder people are turning out, but let's see his interpretation of events, right? Ncuti Gatwa has addressed the backlash from Doctor Who fans, criticizing the sci-fi series for leaning into diverse casting and storylines. Gatwa, who joined the British TV show's The 15th Doctor, the 2023 Christmas special, the lowest rated, or the lowest viewed Christmas special in history, and this week began starring in his first official season as the beloved Time Lord. Well, at one point in time, beloved is the first openly queer and black actor to portray the character. And yeah, again, if that's your biggest accomplishment to immutable characteristics, I'm just gonna say New Who is not long for this world. During an interview with NPR, the 31-year-old star said that he finds it really sad that longtime fans of the show have chosen to stop watching in light of his casting and other decisions made to bid for inclusivity. Well, yeah, because we've heard these types of pushes in every other venue possible, and they never end up boring out entertaining conclusions. Whenever you try to push personal politics like this, it always ends up overriding the characters, the plot, and everything that makes a story, or everything that makes a series, a franchise, a show engaging. It just never happens. Point me in one direction, in one singular direction where this has worked in a broad scale for a long period of time. These are always the desperate pleas of a franchise, of a show, in its death throes. Thanks to the bid for inclusivity, thanks to the bid for more diverse casting, Doctor Who was nearly canceled at the end of Jodie Whittaker's run. Okay, when ratings were absolutely in the toilet, which is something we can definitely look forward to seeing once again at the end of this truncated season. I find it fascinating that it matters so much to these people. I find it fascinating because he's talking about, this is what Gatwa had to say during this interview. I find it fascinating that it matters so much to these people, but yet every time that you're given an opportunity to promote your show, you're the one talking about inclusive casting, a diverse group of people being brought onto this decades-old franchise. Methinks you are projecting quite a bit here, Gatwa. you are going to limit yourselves from a show that you claim to love because you don't like something about someone's appearance or their race. Back when he was cast, and okay, let's just finish this out. It's just really sad for them. Oh, really? Is it really? Because when you were first cast, everybody was kind of ambivalent. Didn't really know too much about you. At this point in time, literally anything could be better than the run of Jodie Whittaker. But this is intense cope, because nobody had a problem with you because of, what you looked like. It was just what you were always talking about and your inability to properly portray the Doctor. Although he is the 15th Doctor, 13 other actors have played the role before. Yes, Tennant came back. Originally the 10th, came back as the 14th. We know. All the previous actors, with the only exception being Jodie Whittaker's nearly franchise-killing 13th Doctor, have been white male actors born in the UK. Yeah, imagine that. You have a sci-fi show created, distributed, and marketed to the British, starring British men. Big shock as to why that was the case. The character is a shape-shifting alien. It can be anyone. Well, that was only after the retconning of the Timeless Children, but don't worry about that. So for it to be, for there to have only been one representation of the character, I think it's just quite limiting. One that has stood the test of time? You take a look at minus the past couple of incarnations, the Doctor, the 13th, and the 15th looking directly at you. Everybody can point to defining episodes for the characters. Okay, and you could take a look at the fan base, even back in the 60s, all the way up through until today. They didn't care about this stuff. They cared about the quality of the show. And it's something that if you want to talk about limiting, I can see one limiting factor that's over the top of this. That would be the one who's belly aching because they can't quite live up to expectations. He noted that for a long-running British show like Doctor Who, embracing diversity was important, if overdue. Yeah, not talking about telling good stories, not talking about, anything to do with the shape-shifting alien part of the character. I don't know, it's all about representing things on the screen so more people tune in, but in turn, nobody's tuning in because we've got the ratings for this, and, well, it's not good. It's really not good at all. The overnight ratings for Doctor Who's Season 14 launch episode Space Babies and The Devil's Cord have been revealed. Ncuti Gatwa well and truly takes over the keys to the TARDIS. Space Babies, the first episode, was watched by 2.6 million viewers. Devil's Cord, the second, that came out right after the conclusion of Space Babies. They were, 45-minute episodes that were released one after another. Another 200,000 people didn't even bother tuning in for the second of the two-part premiere, Season 14. That's not good. That's really not good. The overnight figures are close to the lowest ever for the show, with The Legend of the Sea Devils, which is critically and audience addicts for the worst episodes. It's also a Jodie Whittaker. Imagine that, the last time the Doctor talked all about, we need to have proper representation. It's about time that a woman stepped into the role. Ended up producing the lowest rated episodes in history. Strange on that one. Only securing an overnight audience at 2.2 million in 2022. It's not the whole story. It doesn't include viewers who watched on BBC iPlayer, who will be more significant than ever due to this season being the first to debut early on iPlayer. Yeah, and then with North American numbers, which we're never really going to get an accurate representation of, that's Disney Plus who's carrying the feed over there, so who's actually going to know? All we're going to have is these apples-to-apples comparison of, lowest viewing numbers via the traditional outlets, and they're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Figures are also likely to have been affected by good weather in the UK. Yeah, which is that's always a justification that you can use, right? Oh, it was nice outside. Don't worry about that. It's not like Doctor Who has never aired during the spring or the summer. Like, what are you doing? The gigantic cope that's out there. But we're starting to see some pushback. Okay, shout out to the Critical Drinker and one of the many people to properly capture this event. Okay, you had Metro UK, some of the biggest cheerleaders for Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor Who. Sorry, straight white men. Doctor Who was never made for you. They put this out some 6 months ago. And it's so funny, right? Like, this is something that you would have seen all the time years ago. Just once again, openly being racist to the biggest demographic. Or your sci-fi television show, being so bold as to say, hey, this British television show was actually never made for straight white men. This is a bold thing that you would say. And then the ratings come out, and they are just about, if not at the lowest ever for the series. And then after those ratings get released, Metro UK decides to just completely and totally nuke their Twitter account. Yeah, we're starting to see the collapse of the entertainment industry, and quite frankly, the only thing that's going to implode with more rapidity than that is new Doctor Who. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.